2024's new Lord of the Rings movie has big shoes to fill after Peter Jackson's trilogy, but the War of the Rohirrim's casting is already as good as anything from the original 3 films. The upcoming Lord of the Rings movie will be animated and set over a century before the events of Frodo's story. It will inevitably draw comparisons to Jackson's series, and the War of Rohirrim's differences could make it difficult for the animated film to live up to what's come before. While the new Lord of the Rings movie faces a massive release challenge matching the success of previous installments, it's already getting one thing right. The War of Rohirrim's casting is already spot on, especially when it comes to the film's lead. The talent attached to the movie is on par with the Lord of the Rings trilogy's cast, and given how strongly associated actors like Elijah Wood and Viggo Mortensen are with Jackson's films and the franchise overall, that's no small accomplishment. Brian Cox's Lord of the Rings casting repeats a strength from the Peter Jackson trilogy. Brian Cox as Logan Roy from Succession Lord of the Rings movies imagery. A major strength of Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy is its cast, all of whom have left memorable impressions on longtime J.R.R. Tolkien fans and newcomers alike. There are few complaints about the stars in the fantasy films, as all of them bring acting experience, compelling performances, and good takes on their respective characters to Jackson's adaptation. The War of Rohirrim casting Brian Cox as one of its leads repeats this Lord of the Rings strength, as the actor has decades of experience under his belt and is easy to imagine as the voice of Helm Hammerhand. Cox's character is the Ninth King of Rohan, and he earns the nickname Hammerhand for fighting with his bare hands on the battlefield. Helm spends much of his reign at war with the Dunlendings, and the fortress Helm's Deep is renamed for him. Cox undoubtedly has the range to capture the king's strengths and flaws, and his role as Logan Roy in Succession will likely spark excitement for his LOTR debut. He'll become as memorable as any of the cast members from the original trilogy, even though he won't physically appear on screen. This is great news for the new movie, but it presents a challenge for another project. War of the Rohirrim's casting poses a challenge for another LOTR project. A man stands on a pile of bodies and weapons in The Lord of the Rings: The War of the Rohirrim. The War of the Rohirrim's casting bodes well for its success, but it poses a challenge for another Lord of the Rings project, The Rings of Power. Unlike Jackson's films and The War of Rohirrim's initial casting, The Rings of Power has yet to receive much applause for its acting talent. While the backlash against its diversity is unwarranted, and there are skilled stars involved in the Amazon show, the cast isn't as recognizable as many actors from the films. They also aren't as strongly associated with their roles, something they'll have to overcome in Season 2. By casting Cox, the Lord of the Rings new movie avoids these problems.